Hey, I'm Ludi Loco, and welcome to my attempts at a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Star Sapphire. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I really would have never imagined such a huge influx of support and love, or such crazy growth, but we're at 2,400 plus subscribers as of writing, which, quite frankly, is freaking insane. It's been wild, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, with all the lovey-dovey out of the way, the rules for the Hardcore Nuzlocke are as follows. 1. I can only catch the first Pokemon of each route or area. 2. Any Pokemon that faints is considered dead. 3. No items in battle. Held items are okay. 4. Set mode is on. And number 5. No overleveling. Also, I'll only be showing Pokemon captures that I actually use just to save some time. Now, I know what you're saying. Ludi, just what the hell is Pokemon Star Sapphire? Well, dear viewer, aside from sharing a stripper's name, Pokemon Star Sapphire is a difficulty ROM hack of Alpha Sapphire. Gen 6 games aren't really known for their difficulty, so I wanted to give the game a difficulty boost. And also because, quite frankly, I hate myself, and because I wanted to give a regular Hardcore Nuzlocke a try. Dio Vento is the wonderful creator of this hack, and his strategy book says you shouldn't Nuzlocke this ROM hack. So, like any idiot with a penchant for self-hatred and pain, I decided to do it. Anyway, here's how it went. The game begins with a very tasteful and wonderfully done intro. One that sent me back to my innocent childhood days of Pokemon Ruby, long before college and work. Simpler days. I name myself Ludi, and am greeted by my wonderful mother, who I suspect is being pounded by a pair of Machoke. I mean, what exactly did that Machoke say to my mother? And why do the two share a moment there? Am I just imagining things? Please tell me I am. Anyways, putting the potential divorce and Pokephilia at the back of my mind, I go next door and meet the girl next door. Her name's May, and her father is Professor Birch, the local Pokemon professor who I saved from a savage mauling thanks to Christopher the Trico. Christopher has a bashful nature, which is neutral, no pluses or minuses. With our starter acquire, we beat May in a Pokemon battle by pounding her repeatedly. Sorry, I meant attacking the Torchic repeatedly with pound. You know what I meant. May finally gives them some Pokeballs, which means the challenge has officially begun. And though May wants me to grab some tail, I refuse, because I don't want no freaking pooch. Like a true contrarian, I go to the next patch of grass and instead find myself a freaking happiny I named Ginny. Now, for those of you who don't know, the future Blissey is a complete tank, able to take special attacks turn after turn like nobody's business. Completely walling and honestly being the baddest bitch on the field. On top of my good fortune, she also has a modest nature, plus special attack minus attack. Arceus, are you there? Have you heard my prayers? Coming off that amazing encounter, we run into Sal the Emolga, who's a naughty little lad, plus attack minus special defense, which I can live with. Afterwards, we caught Polly the Zigzagoon, who has a quirky nature, which is neutral. Now, this bad boy has the pickup ability, which has been improved in this ROM hack to give the players some more tools and opportunities. Within the first few minutes, Polly gives us an assault vest. Where he possibly could have gotten it, I have no idea, but the old guys sure know where to conveniently pick things up. Soon after, me and May share a wonderful moment where some beautiful eyes take to the sky. I watch her go and continue onwards towards Petalburg City. Now, amazingly enough, I have a father in this game that actually came back from getting milk. Unfortunately, he's a complete workaholic that doesn't know mom is getting Machoke. I mean, how do you bring this up to him? I decide not to, and instead help this wimp named Wally catch his first Pokemon. Afterwards, Polly picks up some illicit capsules and we catch Junior the Talo. Uncle June's bashful, which is a neutral nature. Again, not bad. Our next encounter is Meadow the Shroomish, who has an impish nature, plus defense minus special attack, which is fine. I then catch Silvio the Darumaka, and during training, Trico evolves. During this, I realized I messed up the level cap and adjusted it to 19. Apologies for that. The recommended level is lower than the actual level, so I had to fix that. Anyways, I catch Adriana the Nidoran, who has a gentle nature, plus special defense minus defense, which is okay. Shortly after, I pop an ability capsule that Polly picked up and change Nidorina's poison point into Rivalry, which increases damage to same-gendered Pokemon. I then have her evolve after training, and after literal hours of super training, unlock the secret training to get myself a Moonstone. Now, I have myself a Nidoqueen who's about to rain down some devastating damage to Roxanne. And so the battle begins. Roxanne leads with a Shuckle as I lead with Shroomish. I Poison Powder the Rock-Hard Bug, Leech Seed it, and switch right into Nidoqueen. Now sadly, the Shuckle laid down both Stealth Rocks and Sticky Web, so the battle is going to be pretty darn annoying for me. Double Kicks wear the Shuckle down as a potion is used, and I basically stall it out until it dies. Next is Amara, who gets her teeth kicked in. Aeron is next and shares the same fate. And next is Roxanne's big bad Probopass. This mustachioed head can't do much to us, and 2 double kicks shatter it to pieces. Second to last is Carbink, which is more annoying than necessary. I can't do much to it, and the attacks don't do much, so I switch into Shroomish to lay some seed. I Poison Powder it and then let Grovyle take care of the Carbink. Roxanne of course goes for a Super Potion as I switch in, and after a Mega Drain and a Fury Cutter, it goes down. Last is Cradley, who doesn't stand a chance against the boosted Fury Cutters. At the end, Polly evolves into Zigzagoon, and with that, the first badge is ours. Honestly, not that difficult, because I had a freaking Nidoqueen on my side. So, after dealing with the whole Pico situation, I set off into the sea towards Dewford. We get ourselves an old rod from a fisherman, train the team until Shroomish becomes Breloom, and then Tailo becomes Swellow, and we get ourselves another team member. Bobby, the Makuhita. This Tubalard is bashful, which, of course, is a neutral nature. Getting a lot of those this run. Afterwards, we fish up Malphie the Magikarp, who has a gentle nature, plus special defense, minus defense, which I'm cool with. For preparation, I go back to Petalburg Forest to get Swellow poison from a Weedle, because this cool dude has guts. Which means that whenever Swellow is under a status condition, its attack gets boosted by 1.5, pretty much necessary to take on Brawley. After evolving Magikarp into the mighty Gyarados, it's time to take Brawley on. Brawley leads with his Hitmontop as I lead with Breloom. Breloom gets flinched by Fake Out and hits a Leech Seed as the Hitmontop begins to bulk up. I lay down a Poison Powder and go for a Mach Punch that deals pretty much meh damage. Eventually, the combination of Leech Seed and Poison Powder takes it down. Brawley then sends in a Hawlucha, which means I have to switch, so I go into Gyarados, who has the ability Intimidate, to bring down Hawlucha's damage. Strangely enough, the darn thing has Sky Attack, which gets charged immediately thanks to a White Herb. It doesn't do that much, and with its attack lowered, I switch into Emolga, who dodges a Sky Attack and retaliates with a damn good Spark. The Hawlucha then goes for a Baton Pass for some reason, and Machamp comes out, which means my man Brawley is hacking in his Pokemon. A Nuzzle paralyzes the Machamp, and Emolga wears it down with some Sparks, even managing to take a Rock Slide like a champ. Unfortunately, I need a clean switch, so Emolga is going to have to take one for the team. Thankfully, Junior comes out to avenge, and an Aerial Ace destroys Machamp and Hawlucha respectively. Girder is next, and I go for a Focus Energy as Girder hits a devastating Drain Punch. Junior survives, and the Citrus Berry triggers, restoring some health as a critical hit Aerial Ace takes out Girder. Next is Heracross, and I keep Junior in to take out Heracross. Guts plus Stab Aerial Ace is nothing short of amazing. With the last Pokemon on Brawley's team being a Pancham, I decided I don't want to lose another team member, so I switch into Gyarados, who takes the Pancham out with 2 Dragon Rages, earning ourselves the second gym badge. After speaking to Steven Stone, we go past Slateport to catch ourselves a Porygon, who I'll nickname Silvio 2 later. He has a gentle nature, just like Gyarados, plus special defense minus defense, which is fine because I'm gonna slap an Eviolite on this bad boy anyways. During training, Penny evolves into Chansey, who then becomes a Blissey. Makuhita and Darumaka evolve as well, and we buy ourselves an Amulet coin to get ourselves some extra dough. The next major obstacle on our journey is another fight with May. I'll be skipping this fight as nothing interesting really happens, and also because my dumbass forgot to turn on the animations after grinding. Rest assured, it was pretty easy, as well as the whole museum Team Aqua battles. I will also be skipping Wally, who despite now having 6 Pokemon, is so laughably easy even in this that I won't waste your time with this wimp. Before Watson, I fight a breeder who I have a freaking horde battle against, and those poor baby Pokemon did not stand a chance against Silvio's cool Bulldoze. So after a lot of training and hitting the level cap, it's finally time to take on Watson. He always makes for a decent challenge if you don't pick Mudkip, plus here's where gyms start using Megas in their team. Watson leads with one of the best bug Pokemon in existence as I lead with Zigzagoon, who has one job and one job only this fight, to use Mud Sport. He takes the thunder from Galvangela not so well and gets paralyzed, which is fine because he makes a mess of things with Mudsport. With electric type damage moves now being reduced by 50%, I switch into Silvio, who takes out the spider with 2 bulldozes as it sets a sticky web. Electivire comes out only to be destroyed by the power that is Sheer Force Darmanitan, and third is Manectric, who shares the same fate, and after that is Rotomao, who gets incinerated with a Flare Blitz. Unfortunately, it managed to get a discharge off, which gets Silvio paralyzed, so I pivot into Bobby, who fakes out the Mega Ampharos as it comes out. Wanting to pull off a really cool trick I saw in the anime, I switch into Swellow, who survives the Thunderbolt thanks to Focus Sash. I then go for Endeavor, which brings Ampharos to 1 HP, and for some reason, Swellow didn't gain Thunder Armor, which is what I thought would happen. I mean, judging from this scene of the anime, you'd think he'd gain this cool little ability or somewhat, but it doesn't happen. Adriana comes in to mop up Swellow's mess and gets off a couple of bulldozes that don't quite manage to take Ampharos out. Gotta love that dragon's bulk. Fabio eventually comes down with some more bulldozes, and last is Magnazone. It sets up an electric terrain as I go for a double kick to get rid of that air balloon I know it has trapped and hit it with an earth power to win us the match. Honestly, a pretty exhilarating battle that's earned us our 3rd badge. Hell yeah, thank you for your sacrifice, Swellow. I skipped the battle family because I don't want to wipe and because I'm a big baby. Instead, we go meet Dear May and she starts talking about how big Mount Chimney is, but I mean, judging from the dialogue, I reckon she's talking about something else. Why yes, May, I too would love for you to take the cable car if you catch my drift. Of course, as with all the girls in my life, she runs off and I'm left there, sad and alone. To cheer up, I catch myself parry the Machop, who has a sassy nature, plus special defense minus speed, which is fine. This dude's gonna be rocking a killer assault vest eventually anyways. I then go back to Slateport to buy some vital battle items like Life Orb and etc, and I also pick up the Thunder Wave and Protect TMs. I then return to the Fiery Path, where I catch myself Raffi the Ragnarola. He's a lax lad, plus defense minus special defense, which is good thanks to his naturally high defense. With new mons, I decide to update the team, training Ragnarola up into a Boldor who is solely responsible for the sharp decline in the Cheta population, except for this guy.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
After EV training and grinding, we get ourselves a Gigalith, a Machamp, and a Porygon too. With the team updated, let me show you why it is so important to avoid ace trainers, experts, and etc. in this game. They always have full teams, often with nasty little strats like this Baton Pass team. Thankfully, after some Dragon Dances from Gyarados, this guy isn't much of a threat, but it's always best to avoid fights that you could lose. Oh, here's another great example of why avoiding fights is best. This random dude had a freaking Moltres on his team. Anyways, we make it to Meteor Falls, where we take on Shelly alongside the wonderful May. She makes for a pretty bad partner because she likes to use Surf to hurt my own Pokemon. The fight goes pretty well, and we then get introduced to a total daddy who goes by the name Maxie. With Team Aqua's plans in motion, I go to Mount Chimney, where I fight Shelly again, this time all by my lonesome. She leads with Quillfish that sets up Toxic Spike as it gets a Dynamic Punch right in its ugly mug. It goes down to a combination of Crop Chop and Dual Chop, and out comes Greninja. Now, I'm not sure what this Greninja was thinking because it goes for Dark Pulse, which thanks to its Protean ability makes it a Dark type, so it dies. And out comes Nidoqueen, who takes that Cross Chop well as it goes for a Roar. Porygon 2 is forced in and he gets poisoned thanks to Toxic Spikes. Porygon 2 has Trace, which means that he copies the foe's ability, in this case Sheer Force, which boosts his own attack. And yes, I do mean special attack. 2 Tri-attacks take out the Nidoqueen and Weavile is last, and for her I just have Darmanitan take care of things. With Shelly defeated, we can now fight the daddy of Team Aqua, Archie. This cosplay pirate leads with a Cacturne as I lead with Perry again. I go for a bulk up as this evil plan goes for a Destiny Bond. Oh joy. Well, at least I know it has it, so I spam bulk ups as it seed bombs me and then lays down some spikes. Since it seems so preoccupied with laying down Legos, I decide to hit it with a Dual Chop to get rid of its Focus Sash, and down it goes. With Cacturne down, next is Slowking gets taken down by a single Dynamic Punch. Toxicroak is next, and thanks to Nogar's double-edged nature, I hit every move, but so does the enemy, which means that his Dynamic Punch hits us. I came prepared, however, with a Person Berry on Machamp clearing him of confusion. He takes out Toxicroak with his own Dynamic Punch. Next is Dragalge. I decide to stay in and take it out with a single Dual Chop, and Machamp earns the champ in his name by living on 5 HP after that poison tick. I then switch out into Gyarados to get an Intimidate proc and then switch into Porygon 2. He takes a crunch and even manages to survive a crit to deliver a discharge that paralyzes Sharpedo. I go for a recover as Archie goes for a Hyper Potion and the next discharge takes it out. Last is Mightyena that goes down after 3 Signal Beams. Boom! But Daddy defeated. With that distraction out of the way, we go to the Jagged Pass where we capture a freaking Honedge and run into an expert trainer that has a Regirock. Where the hell are all these people getting these legendaries? I thought I was the special one. Well, it's time to take on Flannery. The match begins with me leading with the thickness that is Blissey to wear down the Ninetales. It hits us with a Solar Beam and you can see the power that is Blissey as it hardly even scratches the blubber. I Thunder Wave the internet browser and set up a light screen as I switch into Gyarados to set up a Rain Dance. From here I switch into Gigalith so I can set up some Stealth Rocks, and with his job done I switch back into Blissey to set up light screens. I then go into Gyarados, hit a Rain Dance, and begin setting up with Dragon Dances in another Rain Dance to get rid of another sunny day. Once set up, I take out Entei, destroy Volcanion, and Torkoal comes out to yawn Gyarados. He stays asleep as Solar Beams chip away, which sadly means I have to switch out. Blissey is back and she does her whole thing, screens, Thunder Wave, Charms, Sweet Kisses, yada yada. After some time, I go back into Gyarados again and manage to wake up. I set some Dragon Dances. After some overheats, Torkoal is beyond useless now. I then set the final Rain Dance and finally take it out. Last is Mega Cameropt, who promptly gets eviscerated by a single Aqua Tail. And with that, we have our 4th gym badge. Our next opponent is my dear father Norman, but before that I train up Gabrielle the Honedge, who has a bold nature, plus defense, minus attack, which sucks, but what can you do? After some EV training and an evolution into Doublade, I play some secret super training until I get myself a Dustone, and with that we have an Aegislash. Norman has a pretty cool office with a wonderful view of the outside and no nagging wife to bother him. We take him on and I lead with Gigalith so I can set up some Stealth Rocks, and I stay in even as a Guts boosted Ursaring comes out because Gigalith is a damn good defensive wall. He takes the Hammer Arm pretty well, and with a Stone Edge plus Burn Ticks almost take out the Ursaring. I switch into Aegislash as Norman heals up, go for a King's Shield, and then switch into Gyarados to dodge another Earthquake. I spend some time switching back and forth between the two, letting the burn take care of Ursaring as the Big Monkey comes out. Knowing that the Big Monkey can't resist using a normal type of move, I switch into Aegislash, who's immune to what would have been a pretty fatal Giga Impact. Norman then switches into Diggersby, who almost gets taken down by a Sacred Sword but manages to survive. It's here that I start my carousel of switches until Intimidation has lowered Diggersby's attack to the lowest it can go. Finally, I go into Aegislash again, set up an Iron Defense, and Diggersby kills itself thanks to its Life Orb. Ambipom is then back out, and its knockoff does deal some pretty decent damage to us as a Sacred Sword barely kills it. What a wonderful nature. I go for another Sacred Sword as a U-turns into Explode, who also survives a Sacred Sword, which is great. We then manage to finally kill it after another one, but we take a Boom Burst in retaliation thanks to Explode's scrappy ability. Ambipom then returns to the field, U-turns into Slacking, who takes a Sacred Sword, and then switches back into Ambipom after getting hit. Eventually, Ambipom dies to a Sacred Sword, the Big Monkey is back out, and I take out the Big Brute with a Sacred Sword. Last is Mega Kangaskhan. I restart the wonderful Intimidation Carousel because it's such a great attraction, until Mega Kangaskhan runs out of Earthquake PP. I then switch into Machamp, who takes out the Kangaskhan with a single Dynamic Punch. With the 5th gym badge in my hands, I tell Norman that Mom is getting choked on the daily and that he needs to return home ASAP so that he can save his failing marriage and avoid divorce. Instead, he gets butthurt that I whooped his ass and pretends he didn't hear anything. Oh well, I tried. With the HM Surf now in hand, we pass New Mauville where we run into a Slowbro who will serve as our eventual HM bearer. Blah blah blah, save Latias, battle blah, talk about a pace killer. The only good thing out of this whole Latias free thing was that I could finally Mega Evolve. I box the ugly dragon, get the team together again, and proceed as if nothing happened. We set off to face Mama Shelly once again, who isn't much of a threat, and afterwards it's then time to face May in the rain. She leads with her Kingdra as I lead with Machamp as usual. We get hit by a rain boosted Surf and retaliate with a Dynamic Punch. I go for a cross chop as Machamp gets hit with another Surf and he takes out the Kingdra. May then sends in her Blaziken next and I switch into Gigalith, who's holding a Rocky helmet to hurt Blaziken as it goes for a Brave Bird. From here, I switch into Aegislash as it goes for a high jump kick that obviously misses. I decide to play around with the Blaziken, switching into Gyarados to dodge an Earthquake, going back to Gigalith whenever Brave Bird is going to be used. May heals the Blaziken of course, and I restart the whole cycle of switching between the three, letting the Blaziken kill itself with its high jumps. Honestly pretty funny, it took itself out with a high jump. Next is Tangrowth. I switch into Porygon 2, who takes it out with 2 Triforces as May's own Porygon 2 comes out to play. Here I switch into Gabriella in case it has a fighting type move, and it does. I hit it with my own Sacred Sword that doesn't do too much and get a King's Shield off as it goes for a Shadow Sneak. Rocky Helmet does enough damage that allows Aegislash to take it out with another Sacred Sword. I swear May might be copying me because she brings out her Doublade that goes for an Ice Beam. I decide to have Darmanitan take it out with a Bulldoze, and a single Flare Blitz in the freaking rain takes it out. Did I mention that I equipped Darmanitan with a freaking Life Orb whose recoil damage is nullified thanks to Sheer Force? Boy, is that hot. Last is Lucario, and he gets taken out by Rain Boosted Aqua Tail from Gyarados. May is so impressed she gives me the HM for Fly and runs off before I can get a word off. To challenge Winona, I first have to witness some truly strange stuff with some VR goggles.
I let my boyfriend do a come in my boy pushy.
After being traumatized, I go challenge Winona, who quite honestly wasn't too bad to deal with. I lead with Gigalith and set up some Stealth Rocks as Skarmory does the same. I go for a Foolish Stone Edge that triggers Skarmory's red card, forcing Blissey out. I decide to stay in so I can hit it with a Thunder Wave, and it uses Whirlwind to drag Darmanitan out. A Flare Blitz takes care of Skarmory, next is Gliscor, and here I switch into Gyarados to set up a Dragon Dance. I also return to Fallover to have the move relearn and teach Ice Fang back to Gyarados just for this fight, and it takes care of Gliscor. Next is a freaking Zapdos. I decide to stay in and go for another Ice Fang that connects and takes the Mighty Bird down. Swellow suffers the same fate, and then a Tornadus comes out. Now this Tornadus likes to go for bulk ups for some reason, which lets me get in some extra Dragon Dances. I will give it this. Its acrobatics almost took out Gyarados, so that strategy almost worked. And Aqua Tail finally takes it out, and last is Mega Alteria, who takes a single Ice Fang and goes down, earning us the 6th gym badge. I then go grab myself a Gyarados site from a Poochyena on Route 123 and head towards Mount Pyre to full Team Aqua again. I fight Admin Matt, I start the battle with Gigalith and lay down some Stealth Rocks, survive an Earth Power thanks to Sturdy, and switch into Aegislash. From here I'll skip forward as I basically stall Nidoking out of all his PP, which takes a while. Eventually I switch into Gyarados, Mega Evolve, and set up Dragon Dances as Nidoking struggles until it dies. Once satisfied with Dragon Dances, I sweep Matt's team and, well, with the orb out of our hands, we head to Lily Cove City and run into May again. She wants another fight, and it's pretty much more of the same really, so I'm gonna skip this one as nothing really major happens. She runs off before I can tell her my true feelings for her, so that sucks. And in my depression, I go ahead and binge on some expensive TMs and watch the sea for a little while, enjoying the calm. After an hour or so of contemplating life and my relationships, I go on the Team Aqua battling train, attempting to stop them from stealing a sub or whatever. Here I fight 5 freaking Mightyenas, but the mighty that is Porygon 2 makes short work of them. We face off against Matt again, but I employ the same tactics as last time, except this time he has his own Mega Gyarados. Because it goes for a bounce, I don't want to risk it with my own, so I switch into Aegislash, who takes the hit and lowers his attack with a King's Shield, but of course not before suffering an almost fatal crunch because I went for a King's Shield when I should have known Matt was going for a full restore. Thankfully, we've got the fucking goat that is Machamp, who takes care of Mega Gyarados with a dynamic punch that hits it out of the freaking air. Is no guard good or what? With Team Aqua having escaped again, there isn't much I can do, so I go and take on Tate and Liza. They lead with their duo of Solrock and Lunatone as I lead with Gigalith and Blissey. They set up both screens as I set up a Light Screen and Stealth Rocks, and these two aren't much of a threat, so after Thunder Waving the two, I send in Gyarados, Mega Evolve, and start setting up Dragon Dances. Once set up, I have Lunatone watch as all of his allies die one at a time. Crunch after crunch. Shattered bones after shattered bones. Until eventually it is the last one standing. Mega Slowbro falling just as easily. It dies alone. And with that, we have our 7th gym badge. Upon exiting, we see a huge ray of light and have some alone time with Steven. Also, yes, that level cap is correct. From here on out, nearly everything will be hitting the level 100 cap. So that means avoiding any fights that we can, especially with any ace trainers. After making it through the labyrinth of the cavern, we finally make it to an oh my god! Just, what the hell is happening here? Yo, this is a children's game. What the hell is going on? Oh, he's just crying. I thought something else was going on. We fight Archie. Ralphie takes to the field, lays down his stealth spikes, and destroys Protean Greninja with a single earthquake. He does the same to Toxicroak even after a drain punch, and then Suicune comes out. I want to take care of Archie as easy as possible, and for that I need to set Gyarados up, so to do that I need to get rid of Suicune's Scald. I go with Porygon 2, who traces Suicune's pressure, making use some additional PP. Don't laugh. With every use. In the red, I go into Blissey, who gets cured of poison thanks to her Pecha Berry. Set up Light Screen, hit it with a Confide, which lowers Suicune's special attack by 1, as it goes for Calm Minds, and basically wear it down to the point where I can send in Gyarados without any worry. From here on out, I see Archie in this cool Vortex background, and Archie realizes what he's unleashed. I, a 10-year-old, am then tasked with defeating a primordial being whose very whim commands the oceans and who has unleashed a torrential downpour that will wipe nearly all life on Earth. Machamp destroys it with a single dynamic punch. Well, so much for Ultra Power Primordial Being. To be fair, it is level 45. The best thing about defeating Kyogre is that May wants to talk to me. Turns out that if you save the world, girls will like you. She then runs off, but I can tell there's something between us. Well, with no more distractions, we then take on Wallace. Now, the most interesting of this fight is that the man leads with a freaking Kyogre. I mean, bro, you coulda helped us big time, and instead you caught the bastard after I defeated it. This fight isn't really that interesting. Stealth Spike stall, and then we destroy Wallace with a Mega Gyarados, destroying his own Mega Gyarados, because we are the superior ones. He gives us Waterfall, and after that, I use probably the coolest feature out of this game to get around the map, flying on a freaking Latias. Hell yeah! At Fell Arbor, I reteach whatever moves I think will work best for the team, get Ice Beam from the shipwreck, and go to Victory Road. The deadliest road known to man. This is where avoiding fights is extremely important. Every trainer has the potential to wipe the team, so I avoid as many as I can, running, dodging, bobbing and weaving through Victory Road, dealing with whichever trainers I can't dodge, like this expert trainer with a team of level 100 Dittos. So after a lot of avoiding, having to deal with a scary Brain and Brawn duo near the end, we make it to the league. Let me tell you, seriously, every individual trainer was probably more difficult than any of the gym leaders in this entire game. But of course, before actually making it to the league, we gotta deal with Wally one more time. He leads with his Roserade as I lead with Blissey. I use Thunder Wave to paralyze it, Confide to further lower its special attack, and once satisfied, switch into Gyarados to start setting up some Dragon Dances. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, I get sleep powdered, and after a while, wake up to deal with Roserade. Next is Magnazone. I Mega Evolve as Moldbreaker ignores Magnazone's Surdy and take it out with a crunch. Azumarill gets destroyed by an Earthquake, Waterfall takes out Talonflame as it sets up to Tailwind, and Garchomp goes down the same way. As Mega Gallade comes out, I switch into Aegislash, which is where I royally messed up. I could have kept Gyarados in and dealt with the Gallade with a Waterfall, but I didn't want to risk it on the off chance that Gallade outspeeds, which is, it's stupid because with enough Dragon Dances, that would have not happened. The result? Aegislash fails to finish off Gallade with a Shadow Sneak and dies to a Swords Dance boosted Zen Headbutt. Thankfully, Rocky Helmet finishes off Gallade, but we lost an extremely important member right at the very end because I fucked up. Well, we make it to the league, head in, and challenge Sydney. Dude leads with a freaking Darkrai as I lead with Blissey to take hits. From here, I pretty much need to stall out his Dark Void as it would wreak havoc on the team. Blissey is pretty much unaffected as her natural cure takes care of sleep every time she is switched out. Once Dark Void is drained, I then have Gyarados take care of his team after setting up enough Dragon Dances, but almost have a scary moment as his Hydreigon manages to survive a Waterfall, but thankfully, it gets flinched and, well, Sydney's done. Even in a difficulty hack, Sydney is never much of a challenge, which is kinda sad. 1 down, 3 to go. The next member is Phoebe, who Aegislash would have done really well against, but, well, I'm an idiot. Phoebe starts by leading with a Duskull okay, who am I kidding? Ladies and gentlemen, when you have a Mega Gyarados on the team, you abuse him. And he is the perfect counter to nearly all of the Elite Four. Actually, scratch that, to everything, so I of course swept Phoebe. 2 down, 2 to go. Glacia has her Frostlass lead as it begins setting up spikes against my team. I lead with Machamp, who gets rid of the Frostlass's Focus Sash, and another Stonehenge takes it out. And then Aurorus comes out. Listen, It's a cute dino, but that typing is the worst in the world. A flick of the wrist takes it out as Whalewren waddles in. Machamp is having fun sweeping this time around as Dynamic Punch after Dynamic Punch takes care of most of Glacier's Pokemon. Sadly, with Machamp in the red and a Kyurem out on the freaking field, I have to switch into Blissey as Glacia heals up. I weaken the Kyurem as much as possible with Paralysis, Confide, and Time as I finally have Gigalith set up some rocks for the last few pokes and take the Kyurem out and then the Regice with the Stone Edge. Last is a Mega Glalie who I have Gyarados take care of with 3 crunches. I mean, hey, can't fix a horrible Mon even with a Mega. Also, I like to think of it as putting Glalie out of its misery. I mean, look at his freaking jaw. Well, 3 down, 1 to go. For a Master of Dragons, Drake is the easiest of them all. Stealth Rocks with Gigalith, Dragon Dance Gyarados, Mega Evolve, and easily sweep his team, despite the man having a Reshiram and a Rayquaza on his team. Let's just say that a superpowered Ice Ram from a Mega Gyarados is no joke. With all 4 so-called elites defeated, we take on the real final challenger, Steven Stone. Fully dripped out and with more rings than a rapper, Steven sends his Skarmory into battle. I set Stealth Rocks as the Skarmory goes for Whirlwind. Guess they didn't want to deal with the mini mountain. Porygon 2 is dragged out into the battle. He gets poisoned by Skarmory but deals enough damage that forces Steven to heal Skarm. The Skarmory is annoying and after some roost I bring in Darmanitan to put an end to its roost fest. Obviously, Flare Blitz annihilates Skarmory, a superpower takes care of the Aggron that comes out, and then a darn Diancie comes into the field. Darmanitan hits it with a decent Earthquake, but unfortunately goes down to a Dazzling Gleam. I bring in Gyarados to hit Diancie with a Waterfall as it heals up, and after another Waterfall, this time a very much unneeded crit, takes care of it. Steven then brings out the Lord of Time Dialga, and you see I kind of freeze here deciding what I should do next. I decide to Mega Evolve and hit it with a Waterfall as it goes for a Fire Blast. I don't do much damage, and I'm not sure what I was thinking here, but praying for no burn, I of course get burned as it hits me with another. Well, that Dragon Dance that I just set up won't really do much for me now. With my strat pretty much ruined and Gyarados now useless, I go into Bliss, who takes all of Dialga's attacks with a smug look on her face. I set up Light Screen, heal thanks to Sockball and leftovers, and I do some surprising damage with Ice Beam. With Dialga embarrassed by a fat pink blob, I bring in Machamp to put an end to this Time Lord's reign with an Earthquake. Aegislash is next, and I curse Steven for rubbing salt in the very raw wound where my own Aegislash used to be. Machamp takes it out with an Earthquake, and last is Mega Metagross. I go for a Dynamic Punch to ensure at least the confusion, but the Twin Jet boosters on Mega Metagross let it outspeed, killing Machamp. I bring in Ralphie to deal some damage with Earthquake as Metagross needs to recharge after the Giga Impact. An Earthquake deals over half, and another Earthquake takes Metagross out for the win. Turns out you can Nuzlocke this game, so long as you avoid 90% of the fights near the end, and don't approach any ice trainers, you'll have a good time. But wait! Steven Stone was never the final enemy. It was May. Yeah, she tricked me. I thought I was gonna get something at the end, but no. She just proceeds to kill three fucking members of my team. She kills Gyarados, she kills Blissey, she kills Ralphie. But I don't wipe. Thankfully, oh my god, this clutch. The luck on this. Blaziken, Mega Blaziken dies thanks to a missing high jump kick on Porygon 2. And with that, a fucking win. So, I mean, that was... Why put me through so much suffering right at the very end? But, I mean, it looks like I'll get something at the end there. Well, folks, I know this isn't the usual monologue content that I've made so far, but I wanted to give a regular Hardcore Nuzlocke a try. I had a ton of fun figuring different strats and getting to use some fantastic Pokemon that I honestly haven't used before. I know you enjoyed watching the video, so hit the like button, subscribe for more, and stay tuned for my regularly scheduled program. Adios.